Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to another episode of Safe2Talk.
Assalamualaikum.
So today we'll try to answer one question. We received a few questions at the early stage of our channel, and we have found one question that really pretty much will help the new generation, the younger generation, understand a lot more about marriage. And the question is, what is it?
So the question that we received is, what is the best advice you would give to your younger self, like marriage related? And I think it's a very good question because for the younger generation, like if we're talking to ourselves 10 years ago, right? Sorry guys, I'm just tired and probably stuttering, but if we were talking to ourselves 10 years ago, what would we say to ourselves? And we didn't have the marriages, like the healthy marriages to look up to. So that's why we wanted to choose this question in specific and dive right into it.
Yeah, so personally, I didn't. I mean, you guys don't know, but I didn't grow up with my parents. I came here at a young age, lived with my uncle and aunt, not knowing them a lot. I mean, when I came here, so obviously I didn't have the courage or ask them the right question about their marriage and how you know how hard it is, and just talk about life in general. In our community, Somali community, I mean, they don't talk about these type of things. And I wish I knew, some of the things I've learned the hard way. I wish I knew them when I was younger, so that when
So you knew what conversations to have
exactly
before you got married, and you knew like what to look for,
Mhm.
and like what to avoid, I guess, in a sense, because it wasn't an open discussion. Like it was like, actually, I don't even think it was in the forefront of my mind, anyways.
Nobody talks about these things.
Yeah, but were you curious about it? Like,
Not really.
that's what I mean. So I don't think it was even in the forefront of our minds to look and pay attention and be like, okay, well, this is what I don't want my marriage to be, or this is what I want my marriage to be. Like, I never thought that far in the sense until I was at a point where I wanted to get married. I think that's when I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm looking for. This is what ideally I would want in my marriage, how I want my family to be, and how I want to raise my children. So that's stuff that came up around the same time as I was ready to get married.
Yeah, and also, our parents, the older generation, they always stuck together. They stayed together
No matter what.
No matter what. And honestly, one of the advice that we have for the new generation is have an open mindset. Not everything is,
An issue.
an issue. No, not everything is a major problem.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, before we got married, we had the hard discussion. We had the hardest, conversation. Some of the stuff that I did not know about marriage in general. I asked her the hard questions. She asked me some of the questions that she wanted to make sure that she needed some answers. So marriage is about sacrifice, commitment, compromise.
Yeah, a lot of compromise, because like for you already had a child, so I think your questions were a lot more, your questions were better than mine, let's just say that. Like my questions were very surface level questions.
And my question was also
were very deep.
Was a lot related to motherhood,
character,
and how would discipline and raising a child. Obviously, now that we have more kids, but at first, I did not know how how are you gonna
how it's gonna be, yeah,
as a mother.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm gonna go back to the youngest generation. If you ask someone to paint the door blue, and if he can't do it or she can't do it, it's not a deal breaker. So we don't have to rush into divorce,
Yeah.
because divorce is not something that is
It's not always the best
it's not the best
solution.
solution.
Yeah.
It's just it's a temporary solution. You might get out of a situation that you didn't like, and I'm not talking about those extreme cases where it's physical abuse or he or she are mistreated. I'm talking about the basic stuff. You know, he doesn't help me clean the house. Divorce. He doesn't pay for for household stuff. Divorce. You know, I can't deal with this type of thing. The rush to the divorce, I would advise to the younger generation to pretty much, uh, reduce that tone. You know, have a different mindset. Try to have, your parents, your siblings, your uncles, your cousins, your best friends, whoever around you to help you. You know, go through some of the tough times.
Yeah.
Um,
I think also it's very like it's just don't throw in the hat too easily, right? Like don't sorry, don't throw in the towel too easily. That's what I meant to say. But like there's going to be issues. Like even if you had hard questions before you got married and you like went through your checklist and you asked all the right questions that you always wanted to ask, there's always going to be stuff that comes up that maybe you didn't anticipate or that you already talked about, but now you guys see it differently because you're in a different situation or circumstance. So there's stuff like I think like the hard conversations, like we see things completely differently. Like him and I are like day and night opposites. I say left, he says right, or he says right and I say left, right? But it's like you're gonna come together for the important things. You're gonna find a common ground. You're gonna be able to compromise as hard as those things are going to be. You're gonna compromise because that's what marriage is about. Like marriage is not, well, I went through my checklist and the rest of it should be easy. Like, we're never gonna have any fights. We're never gonna have any like how do you say any big issues. You will still have those. I think forever. It's just with time you just learn how to deal with it, how to navigate better, and how to like. In the beginning, fights were taking us like a couple of days to get over, and now we're just like a few minutes later, like, okay, you're so annoying. Like, let's just keep it moving, right?
To me, anyways, when we have those disagreements or debates or conflicts, it shows that we're able to talk through and communicate. And she talks about her side of the story and I bring up my side. And at the end of the day, as long as we have that conversation, whether we may not be on the same page, but at least we understand each other.
Always. I think that's the most important thing is coming to an understanding. Being on the same page is not always easy. Especially if you're husband and wife. I think it's rare that we agree for us anyways, that we see eye to eye on some things, but not everything. That's pretty average, that's pretty normal. And it's just so this is the thing. I think the older generation says like there has to be a balance, I find, because the older generation stayed no matter what, regardless of the cheating and the like, if anything happened, or like the fighting and no matter. I don't know, like I don't know, maybe because I'm talking from what I've seen or like just about my environment. Regardless what happened, like I feel like they stuck together even if there's no more love or conversations happening, right? And then you fast forward to our generation and everybody's just ready to give up.
Yeah, because the old generation, it was about family. Family comes first, not my happiness, my family happiness.
Yeah.
The new generation is me, and about me.
Yeah, everything's about me.
I have 2 kids, me.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's fine to like still prioritize yourself and what's important to you, but just make sure you have those conversations. And if you see that it's really not working out, then at that point you've tried and you've given it your all, and yeah, cool. If you want to walk away, you walk away. But our generation is the let's just give up before we put in the hard work. And then the older generation was like, let's just stick through this no matter what. So I think we have to find a healthy balance. And sometimes you're gonna agree to disagree. Sometimes you're gonna hate each other's guts. That's fine. That's completely normal. And
It comes with the marriage.
yeah, it comes with the territory. Honestly, there is no like, how do you say, there is no blueprint on the perfect marriage. There's no such thing. You try to make it work, you hope for the best, and you pray that the fights that you have, the kids don't hear it.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
mean, as long your price is not that deep, um, I try my best uh, to get a result between us. And if that doesn't work, then I always try my. I mean, I have to consult my good buddies. You know, get a different male perspective.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'm not seeing it. Maybe he can tell me, here's where you went wrong. Here's what you should have done differently. So it's always good to have different opinion. And don't go too far. You know, going to the parents, uncles, that usually never helps. But close friends, you know, they can be honest with you, and most of the time they will give you good advice.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with also like bringing in a mediator if that's that your problem is that big. Like talking to an imam, like always bringing in someone that's biased. Like one thing that I think we try to avoid is bringing in people that are directly in the family, because I feel like there's always going to be some bias. Like like for example, if you're bringing a sister of mine, right? Like my actual sister, if I ask her for advice, it might be biased because she's my sister, right? Like unless you know that person is 100% going to balance both sides out and be fair. I just personally just try to avoid family. Well, I like, speaking from my experience, like if I had my best friend even like come and tell me something, I'm always going to see it as like a level-headed as I can, but not everybody is capable of that. So bring in an imam, like they're put in place for this reasons, to be able to help us and use the Islam as a foundation, which is the best foundation you could use when you are having a conflict. So I think.
Definitely. So, I mean, you definitely need some different uh, middle man or someone that can come in between
Yeah, like a mediator.
a mediator and come resolve the issue if the problem is not getting resolved within a day or so. At first, I was the type of person at the beginning of our marriage, 3 days, I wanted my space. And she's the type of person that wants to
So
get
let's
it.
talk about it
Let's
right
talk
now.
about right away.
I'm
So,
confrontational. I'm like, let's
so,
resolve this.
so we came into
And he's like, give me space.
yeah, we came into an agreement. And instead of 3 days, I'll take a day.
Still as annoying. But I also learned, wallahi, like I think it's I learned more about myself through our fights than I learned about him. Right? Like I learned that I'm just pressed all the time. I just need to like resolve this right now. And sometimes we're both so heated that it's not the best thing to do. It's just it's good to take some time and space and then come back together. I learned that now, but before I was like, let's solve this right now. Right now.
Yeah, that's gonna take a while for me to, just snap and resolve. 10 minutes later, it's
Which
just
is understandable because emotions are running high.
yeah.
Like you both don't want to say things you're gonna regret, right?
And I don't want to sound fake. I don't want to apologize or talk about
Fake the
something.
funk.
Yeah,
Fake it till you make it.
yeah, and I'm still boiling. I'm sorry, and I'm still fuming. And
Yeah.
I usually like to, calm the situation down. We both take a breathing and take a break, and then let's talk about it.
Come back together after. Yeah, for sure.
So one of the advice we have for the new generations. Some of the feedbacks we receive is that, hey, this person's not doing this, I'm out, and it's not always the best option, the best approach. So always think through and come up with the best solution.
So I guess if you were to give yourself one advice, your younger self, what would you say? What
For
would you
me,
say? Yeah.
my younger self, I've asked questions. I never knew much about marriage. No one taught me anything about marriage. It's from, seeing and just looking around and see how people deal with some of the things. But I've never really knew the real thing, how marriage, you go to the mosque, you see uncle, you see your neighbors, but you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
You only see them, they have kids and wife, and you think everything is beautiful, but
Yeah.
no one knows. I just didn't see the need to ask questions. Because I didn't, no one really did say anything to me about, hey, when you get potentially when you get older, you can get married. So be ready. No one really said anything to me about these type of discussions. So to me, it was just, I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. I think for myself, the one thing I would say is just patience. Patience goes a long way because you're not gonna always know like the person's like what they meant or why they did that and whatever, right? Like, so for me, I think having patience, I would tell myself in a lot of different things in my life, but especially when it comes to marriage, just be patient. Don't expect things to get resolved right away. Don't expect things to be all like flowers and roses and whatever, right? Like it's gonna be hard and it's gonna be worth it. Like it's not the fight that makes the couple, is how you come together after that fight. So that's what I would tell myself, my younger self.
It's a good one.
Thank you.
So pretty much, yes, next generation, please take the time, seek help, ask questions, and inshallah, when you're ready to go, make dua. And everything you put in, as long as you do the right way, the proper way, it's always gonna work out, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And finally, do not forget, as you know, Turkey had another earthquake.
Yeah.
Please support Turkey, support Syria, and
Make dua for the Muslim Ummah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
All right, folks. See you to the next episode.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum.